Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lowry and my goal right now in life is to bring back dabbing. But besides bringing back dabbing, I also love books, and so today I'm going to be going over all of the books that I read in February. So I have my handy dandy disco ball or mirror ball, if you like Taylor Swift, notepad that has all of my information on it that I will be referencing. So first, my February reading statistics. I read 7 books this month, which is like a lot for a school month, but I also had like winter break, so I literally got like half of my reading done on winter break, so without that I may have read like 3 books. But anyways, I read 4 romance books, 2 fantasies, and 1 that I just labeled miscellaneous, and you'll understand why because I don't really know what genre it fits into. And my average rating this month was a 4.2 star. So this was a very good reading month, actually. So I chose my TBR doing that trend where you like wrap up your books and then you like draw numbers and you like pick it and you get to unwrap it and it's like a mystery. So, spoiler alert, I read all of those books and I didn't think I was going to because it was getting into crunch time and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, but I did, trust. So the first book that I read this month was This May End Badly by Samantha Markham, and I gave this book, drumroll, 4 stars. It was a solid 4-star book, and I read this book first, which means my memory is the worst on this book. But it's about 2 rival boarding schools. One is all girls and one is all boys, and the schools are like about to merge, but the students like do not want that. Like this is a very long-lasting like war between the schools. Like they don't want to merge, and they always do like pranks against each other. And what happens is the main character, who I'm forgetting her name is Doe. She like aligns herself. What is the word? She like partners with alliance. She starts an alliance with a guy from the rival school to get like on the nerve of her like arch nemesis. And when I like first started reading this book, I really thought that it was going to be like an enemies to lovers, but it was actually fake dating between the girl and her like ally, basically. So nothing happened with like the arch nemesis, which kind of had me upset, but I loved Wells, who was like the male main character, so it's fine, I guess. So yeah, 4 stars. It was very good. I would recommend. I'm trying to remember like what I didn't like about it. I think the writing was just like a little off for me, but like it was still 4 stars. Like it was still a good solid book. Also, that was a YA romance. There was like no spice or anything. So the next book that I read was Games Untold by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and this is the miscellaneous book because what it is just a bunch of like short stories from throughout the Inheritance games of like maybe stories that they like brought up but they never talked about, or just things that we never knew, and the author was like, let's make a short story book. So I gave this book 3.75 stars because basically I kind of forgot a lot of stuff, and now I want to like reread the series, and then whenever like a little short story arises, then I'll like go to this book and like read it. I think that would be enjoyable, but like reading all of these without the timeline wasn't even right. Like the stories, like the first story, actually let's check. Like the first story that happened in this like jumbled timeline, like this is the jumbled timeline. There are arrows going everywhere because the stories don't happen in order of the books. The first story happens in the 4th book. So it was like so much happening, like flip-flopping between the storylines, and I was like, what is happening here? So like the stories were good. I just wish I had more interest in them. So I want to reread. Also, 2025 is the year of like rereading like every book on my bookshelf and still trying to make time to read other books that I haven't read. Like, spoiler alert, this book I reread 3 books. I had 3 rereads this month just because I was in the mood to like read my favorite books. And like that's as simple as it can be. And like this year I want to reread Percy Jackson and Harry Potter. That alone is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 books that are just rereads. I also want to reread Betting on You by Lynn Painter. That's 13 books that are just a reread. That's like a lot, but I'm gonna get it done. Actually, I might not read all of Harry Potter, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try my best. Oh yeah, speaking of rereads, my next book was The Do-Over by Lynn Painter because it was February and Valentine's Day was coming up. And I was like, let's read this book because this book is about this girl named Emily and she wakes up and it's a Valentine's Day and she's like so excited because she has her boyfriend and she's gonna like give him her Valentine's gift and she's gonna like say I love you, but then like the day just keeps going horribly wrong. Like everything bad happens and she's just like, I hate this. And so she goes to sleep and she wakes up the next morning and it's Valentine's Day again. So Valentine's Day just keeps repeating and repeating and repeating until one day she's like, I give up. And she, what was it? The day of no something, because it's like the donk, like the DONC, day of no, oh my goodness, this is embarrassing. I don't remember what it means. Anyways, and so her and the main character, Nick Stark, just like, is it the day of no cares? The day of not caring? Something along those lines. Anyways, so they just like do like a whole bunch of things, just like without a care in the world. And so that's how they like meet and get to know each other, and it's amazing. And I love Nick Stark. But I will say this is my least favorite YA like Lynn Painter book, but it's still 4 stars. Like I gave it 4 stars. So that just means like it's not even like that bad. I just don't really like the main character. She kind of gets on my nerves. But I love Nick Stark, so it's like I can get through the book because Nick Stark is in it, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I just relate to Liz and Bailey more than Emily. Liz and Bailey are the main characters in her other books. And then I read The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni because this book like blew up like a year ago, 2 years ago, I don't know. And I actually read this on my Kindle. This is the book that my friend let me borrow, but I was like Kindle hungry and I wanted to do something on my Kindle. And this one was on Kindle Unlimited. So I read it there. And I knew that I needed to like read this fast because a lot of people like online say that it gets like boring like in the middle, and I like did not want that. So I read this during winter break because I knew I would have time to just like read, and that is what happened. And I don't really think it ever got boring. But like I guess because I was just like reading it really fast because I didn't want to get bored. Another thing that I did was I paid attention to every single little detail in this book because everyone in their mom was like, oh my gosh, the plot twist at the end of this book, I didn't see it coming, like yada yada yada. And I was just like all the plot twists, I was just like, I saw this coming. I guess because I was paying so much attention, but I feel like even if you weren't, you could have at least like guessed it in the back, just like as a random thought, like, oh, like what if yada yada yada. Like I don't know, I just feel like that was like such a given of that what the plot twist was. But like also, okay, I need someone to talk to this about, and so this is a spoiler and I'm gonna like say a timer of like where to skip to. Why in the world, if her mother was low-key, I forgot her name, but like the queen of whatever, like if that was her mom, why didn't she use her healing powers to heal her mom? Like I'm literally not understanding. Like is she that power hungry that she wants to be in charge or whatever? Like what? Like why would she just not heal her mom when like no one was looking? I don't understand. But anyways, so this book is about this girl named Kaiva. That's how I'm saying it. I don't think it would be Kiva. Kaiva. And she is like the prison healer at this prison, obviously. And one day this like new person goes into the prison, and she's like a big deal. Like they finally captured this like really important figure, and they're like, okay, like we captured this girl, we're putting her through the, what were they called? The elemental trials or something like that. Basically because they just want the girl that they captured to die because she's like a threat to society or whatever. But the girl is like sick, like on her deathbed basically. Like there's no way that she could enter these trials. So Kaiba like volunteers and is like, I'm gonna do the trials. And so like she does the trials, I guess. But it's not any trials like powerless, not those kind of trials. Like she has to like not even battle. It's like, I was going into this book with a lot of high hopes because I was like, ooh, trials, like that sounds so fun. But it was just like, this isn't, it was just underwhelming. The trials were like very underwhelming. But as a prison healer, she heals this one guy who like comes into the prison, and then they like get attached. So there's that. There's like a little subplot of romance, but it's like not very big. So yeah. Also, this is like a YA fantasy. No spice at all. There's like no spice in any of the books I read, but I'm just gonna like say that anyways. Like the Do-Over, no spice. Or anything like that. Oh, this day was crazy on winter break. So I gave this book 3.75 stars because I was a little underwhelmed. But I hope the rest of the series gets better. Anyways, so I finished this book early on one day. And I was like, okay, I have the itch to read something else. So on my Kindle, I read Rival Darling by Alexandra Moody, because I had seen like a bunch of videos just like on Instagram being like, if you like this and this, you should read my YA hockey romance book. And I was like, okay. And it was on Kindle Unlimited. So I literally sat and I binged that book. And not gonna lie, I thought that book was the author's first book because it was like kind of cringy. But then I like went on Goodreads, and she has like a lot of books. But it was like fine. Like it was such a fun time because it was about, oh, I just realized 2 rival schools. Apparently that was a theme this month. 2 rival schools, and they have hockey teams that are like rivals. And so this girl who I like really forgot her name. I'm really bad at remembering book people's names. Oh my goodness. I don't even have the book to look it up. This is bad. I should like write that down along with all of my other notes on here. Well, anyways, it's this girl, and gosh, that's actually making me really upset. Anyways, so it's this girl, and she's dating like the star player of the hockey team at her school, but then they like break up, and she's like wants to get back at him a little because he like won't stop trying to get back together with her because she broke up with him. And so she's like, all right, I gotta do something about this. So then she starts fake dating the star hockey person of the rival school. So it's number 1, fake dating. That is my favorite trope ever in any romance book or any book. If it's a subplot, I don't care. Fake dating is my favorite trope ever. So it was a fake dating, it was a hockey romance, and it was young adult, and there's like not a bunch of YA hockey romances. So I was like, okay, sign me up for that. And it was like Grumpy Sunshine, I guess. Like the guy was like grumpy at the beginning. I don't know if she was a ball of sunshine, but she was nicer than he was. Anyways, I gave it 4 stars because it was a fun time. It was a little cringy, but it was still sweet, so I don't really care. It was a great time. And then, so I read that book on the same day that I finished The Prison Healer. And then I was like, okay, like this book had been calling my name for like a long time to reread. And I was like, okay, it's time. Because Valentine's Day was approaching, and I was like, well, I feel a little lonely. So I was like, let's reread my favorite book on the entire planet, Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams, because I've never related to a main character so much than I have with Annie Walker. You don't understand. because the whole premise of this book is that Annie she's like 27 or 28, and she's like just has like such a strong urge to get married and like settle down, even though she already is settled. This is in Rome, Kentucky, like small town. So she's already settled down, and she wants to find someone to settle down with. And she's just like not good at dating. So her friend Amelia, who's a character in the first book in the When in Rome series, in When in Rome, her friend Amelia is like, I can help you. And so basically, Amelia is like a famous singer, BTW. And so she gets her like bodyguard to help Annie like date. He becomes like a dating coach for her because he's like so experienced, whatever. And so it like starts off as like a friendship, but then obviously they start dating for real. Not that that's a spoiler. But anyways, I just love Annie so much because I relate to her a lot. Even though she's the youngest sibling and I'm like the eldest daughter, I just like relate to her on like a whole other level. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, and I annotated it this time. Because the first time I only put like 2 tabs in the book, and I was like, how are there only 2 tabs? Like, that's despicable. Like, there's no way that's real. So obviously this book was 5 stars. Obviously, like, how could it not? It's Sarah Adams, and it's the most relatable character I've ever read in my entire life. So yeah. I don't think there's any spice in this book. If there is, it's like not a lot. I don't really remember, to be honest. I don't know. Maybe in like an epilogue there is, but I don't think there's any in like the actual one. So yeah, 5 stars, of course. And then this last book I was reading all throughout the month because it's Legacy by Shannon Messenger, and it's a thick, almost 800-page book. So I was not just gonna sit down and like start reading this. So this is the 8th book in the Keeper of the Lost City series, and I first started this series in the 5th grade. And there was a new book that came out in like December, book 9.5, because the author does half books. Go off, Shannon, do whatever you want, I don't care. And some of my friends were like, you know what, I'm gonna reread the entire series to like refresh my memory. And I was like, okay, I'll do that too. And I like really thought I was gonna be finished with all of the books by December. It's February, almost March 1st, and I finished the 8th book. Which sounds close, but I still have book 8.5 and 9 before I get to 9.5. So I'm close, I really am getting there. But anyways, this book I rated 5 stars actually, because it was just a great time. Like, there was actually plot happening. Like, book 7, the book before this, the main character spent the first half of the book, it was like 400 pages she just spent in the same place, like not moving. She was in like a hospital bed, not moving. I'm just like, this is so boring. This book, they were doing stuff, there was stuff happening. The love triangle was like, it was happening. Also, if you read this book series, obviously the only answer is Team Foster Keith. And the amount of Team Foster Keith moments in this book was crazy. Like, me updating my Goodreads like every 2 minutes, just like yapping. Like, oh my gosh, Sophie, like, you're so dumb. Keith is this, blah, blah. Also, the amount of times that Fitz yelled at Sophie in this book, absurd. The amount of times Keith yelled at Sophie in this book, 0 times. I'm just like, Sophie, you're dumb. But anyways, I gave this book 5 stars. This honestly might be the only book in the entire series that's 5 stars, because I can't think of... Actually, there is one scene in book 9 that is 5 stars forever, but I can't really remember the rest of the book. But also, if you've read the 9th book and you're Team Foster Keith, even if you're not Team Foster Keith, like, you would know what the exact scene I'm talking about. Also, Bianna and Dex, they have to go together. The amount of like subtle hints that Shannon Messenger was putting in this book about Team Deanna Blake, Bianna and Dex, I was like, oh, this is 100% happening. Like, why did we ever think that Bianna and Tam were going to be a thing? No idea. No idea. So I'm Team Foster Keith, I'm Team Deanna, I'm Team, I call them Win because it's Wiley and Lynn, even though, isn't that the name of one of the Alicorns? Luna and Win? I don't care. Team Win. I'm team either Fitz and Morella, or team Fitz, or just Fitz becomes a counselor and doesn't marry anyone because he has anger issues and he's not suitable for marriage. That's my thought. So the day that I'm filming this, there's 3 days left in February. Today's February 26th. And this is the next book in the Keeper of the Lost City series. And yes, it looks thick to be a book 8.5. But that's because the author just decided, this isn't the last book in the series, but she decided to make, an informational book that has just, details about, the world all in here. And I'm just I'm not reading all of that. Instead, I'm only reading there's, a novella in the back of the book that's, around 200 pages. And so I might be able to finish that before September, but it's not going to be 5 stars. I already know that because it's just a little novella. It might just be 4 stars. So yeah, I might be able to get that done, but not before this video needs to go up. So yeah, that's every book that I read in February. My favorites being Legacy by Shannon Messenger and Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. Both of these coincidentally being rereads. Oops. But if I were to pick a favorite that wasn't a reread, I guess I would pick This May End Badly by Samantha Markham. And this wasn't really an exceptional book either, so I need to find another 5-star book that I haven't read before. Maybe that'll happen next month. I don't know. But I hope that you guys will stick around to see what other books I'm reading and to see if I single-handedly bring dabbing back. You know how Trump has Make America Great Again? I could do Make Dabbing Great Again. MDGA. Hashtag MDGA, Make Dabbing Great Again. Thank you.